You know when you wake up and you just think, what have I been doing this whole year? You just realize you've pretty much been coasting the whole time. And then you realize the likelihood is you're probably just going to continue to coast for the rest of the year. You're going through the motions. Every day's pretty much the same. Work, home, eat, sleep, repeat. Nothing new. Sometimes you might actually be trying to challenge yourself, meet new people, trying to mix things up, learn new skills. It's just not working. There's no progress. Maybe you're just coasting the complete wrong way and this isn't the way that you want to go in life at all. Or maybe you're doing nothing at all. You're just not moving in any direction. Coasting can look different for all of us, but either way, the main issue remains the same. You are not operating at your full potential and life's just passing you by. So what do? Well, I'm about to break it down using science for you and show you exactly how to snap out of it once and for all. So let's get into it. If you've ever found yourself coasting through life, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say sometimes you just don't notice that you're coasting. You don't really know why. You keep thinking, my life should probably look a bit different to this. You live day to day, and it's not until you stop and think, hold on, where did all that time go? Time's passed, but weirdly, everything just feels exactly the same. You've lost the time. Another way of understanding this is the phenomena of zoning out. How many times have you been watching something or listening to a podcast, watching YouTube, and then you have to rewind because you realize you didn't actually hear any of it? Or someone's speaking to you and then you have to ask them to repeat because honestly, you zoned out and you actually just didn't have any idea what they've said. You're in a meeting praying that no one asks you for your input because, surprise, surprise, you've zoned out. Sometimes we even zone out while driving, which was a bit more wild and much more of an issue than missing what your boss said about last month's figures. Zoning out means time's passed and you've been there, but you weren't present. You were not participating. You weren't shaping anything in those moments. So to some degree, yes, we'll all zone out and we'll all daydream a little bit from time to time. But the issue is when this happens consistently on a larger scale for a much longer period of time. And this is just a small scale version of what it means to coast for a long period of time in your life. Life continues, amazingly you're alive, but you've been unaware and inactive. And as with anything, you can't take action to change things if you're unaware. Logically, the first step towards changing something in your life is realizing that you're doing it. So the first step is realizing that you're coasting. Do you feel complacent in your job or career? Maybe you're coasting. Not taking steps to reach a new goal? Maybe you're coasting. Have you stopped growing in your relationships with others? Maybe you're coasting. You're just kind of living life, doing your thing without consciously considering what's actually going on from day to day and week to week. In these times of coasting, how do you wake yourself up? What does it take for us to realize that we've been driving through life without a destination, without knowing where we're going? How do we stop coasting and start living? Looking into the future, if we're truly wanting to change things and move things in life, it isn't enough to just have a faint desire and say that you're going to do something and then just expect that you're just going to drastically change and start doing it without a deep fundamental shift. You'll hear people say, you got to just be disciplined. Be disciplined. And they're not wrong. But the thing is that you've tried that and it doesn't just seem to work. Have a think. Is that the story of your life? Whether it's with your health or fitness, with your kids, with your relationships, and especially with your work and goals, it's just so easy to go through a day, a week, or maybe even a few months or a couple of years without noticing what you're doing. Coasting. So I've come up with my neat little definition of what I think coasting is, which is moving through your days with no meaning, no enthusiasm or purpose. Now, I don't need to tell you it's not enough to just desire a change. It's not enough to just want it. I feel like we all know that because, funnily enough, we all want things all the time, much of which we don't have. You've always wanted to have things or for things to happen, and it's never been enough to just want it. Another process had to take place for any of these changes and these wants to materialize. Everyone wants to be rich. Everyone wants a nice car. Everyone wants a nice house. Everyone wants a nice six-pack. Does everyone have it? Has it ever been enough to want it? Something had to happen to take place to move you, for things to move for you. So now we're going to look to science to help us crack this once and for all. So I'm going to start by introducing you to the fundamental principle of inertia. And you can get some very technical, sciencey definitions to explain inertia. But for the purpose of today, we're going to go very, very simple and general. So we can just grasp the essence of the actual overall lessons that we can learn from it. A nice, clean definition of inertia is the property of matter that keeps it at rest or in a uniform motion unless acted upon by an outside force. So I'm going to say that again. Inertia is the property of matter that keeps it at rest or in a uniform motion unless acted upon by an outside force. This essentially means matter, so a physical object, whether sat in place not moving or already in motion, so a ball rolling, will continue to remain as it is, whether at rest or moving, until it's acted upon by an external force. So someone pushing the object sat on the table off the table, or putting your foot in front of the ball to stop it from rolling. The object on the table wouldn't just suddenly move unless an outside force acted on it, unless of course you believe in the supernatural, but that's a different topic. And the ball wouldn't stop rolling unless someone stopped it. So that includes the external force of friction from the ball rolling, which would slow it down so it'd stop in the end. And to break it down further, there are 3 types of inertia that we're going to take a closer look at. This is going to help us really understand the situation when we're coasting. Firstly, we have inertia of rest. This is a tendency of an object to remain at rest until a force acts on it. This is similar to the example I gave earlier. So say you have a stone just sitting on the road. It will stay sitting on the road until someone comes along and kicks it. Only then does it move. How can this relate to the state of coasting? Well, say you're currently not moving forward in life at all. You're not moving in any direction. Even if you have a clear goal or desire in mind, there's no movement towards it beyond a mere thought. The days come and go, and there's no conscious movement. Nothing is being done and no action is being taken to move you outside of your current status quo. Nothing that makes you grow mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, relationally, in any context of your life. Nothing is conscious as you're living in autopilot. One day looks almost the same as the last. This is how you know you're in inertia at rest. This is coasting without moving at all. Secondly, we have inertia of motion. Now, this is a tendency of a moving object to continue moving at the same speed and direction until an outside force acts on it. So, an example of this could be the body of a passenger in a moving car to continue moving forward when the car suddenly stops. The sudden stop causes the body to lurch forward as it tries to keep moving at the previous speed because of inertia, even though the car was stopped. This leads to the feeling of being thrown forward, and I know I felt that, and I'm assuming you might have too. And what does inertia of motion look like when someone's in a state of coasting? Well, this can apply in a few ways. This can be when you're going through the motions, you're moving forward in life, but you haven't stopped to ask, is this really the direction that I want to go in? Am I climbing up a ladder I actually want to go up? I'm racing forwards towards something, but without actually stopping to make sure this is actually what I want and where I want to go in my life. You just continue moving forward. You could also say with this one, you could be missing out on your full potential. If you were a car in motion, moving forward, there's no conscious driving happening. There's no moving, twisting and turning, no accelerating, decelerating to navigate the hazards and weather conditions around you. You never speed up, you never slow down. You just keep driving. And it's the same pace, same direction, mindlessly moving forward. You've not decided to turn off road and climb upwards towards driving up to new heights. You haven't done anything consciously. You just persist with doing what you've always done, acting out decisions that you made a long time ago, doing the easy stuff, picking the easy route. Time passes by, and no matter what happens, you just keep on driving down that road. You could also even be moving towards what you want, but you're hesitating and moving way too slowly, maybe because of doubt, fear, worry, but deep down you know you should really be going for it. You should be going much faster than you are. And lastly, we have inertia of direction. This is the tendency of an object to continue moving in the same direction unless acted on by an outside force. And the difference here between this one and inertia of motion is that this only addresses the direction the object is moving in, as opposed to addressing the speed or stopping the object. An example of this could be a spinning top. So you're spinning it in one direction and then you stop it to spin it in the other direction. What does coasting in a state of inertia of direction look like? This is when you're simply just going the wrong way. You're just traveling down the wrong route, usually knowing that you need to completely turn your life around and go the complete different direction. At this point, you need to do a 180. So you might have picked up some bad habits, made a few wrong turns, and now you find yourself on a road that you had no plan to walk down. And this could also be because you want something completely different in life. And you know that because you feel trapped by your life and by your circumstances. So this could be because of bad decisions or wrong decisions you made a while ago, and it just looks like this is you. This is your life now. This is the direction that you're going in. This is the road you're traveling down, even though you know you literally need to be going the other way. So across all these versions of inertia and coasting, it's about you defaulting to just letting go. Whatever the situation was, you just let it be and kept coasting. If you're at rest, you stay at rest and you don't move. If you're in motion, you just keep doing more of the same thing with no pause, no consideration. If you're going the wrong way, you just keep on going the wrong way, even when it's the last way you really should be going. So now I want you to figure out which form of inertia you're in. As you know, there are 3 distinct types of inertia: inertia at rest, inertia of motion, and inertia of direction. Analyze your life right now, your current situation. Determine which type of inertia best fits you and how you describe your life. Is there nothing happening? Is there no movement towards anything? Most likely, you're in inertia at rest. Are you going for it and doing stuff, but you haven't actually stopped to consider if it's the right way or why you're doing it? Or are you trying to push forwards, but it's all just a little half-hearted? You're most likely in inertia of motion. Is your life traveling in a particular direction, but you know that you need to be going another way? If so, you're most likely in inertia of direction. I want you to think, assess your circumstances, and write it down. And it's really key here that you be honest and accurate. Really think it through, because if you identify yourself as being in the wrong state, you're going to try and remedy your situation using the wrong actions, which isn't going to help you move forward towards what you actually want to achieve. For example, if, say for instance, you were starting your own business and then you thought that you were in inertia of direction, so you think you've got to go a completely different way, and then you pack it in, throw in the towel, but really what you needed to do was to slow down and assess whether the movements that you were making were right, or even speed up because maybe you weren't doing things big enough, being bold enough to move forward. So just make sure when you're self-assessing, you're being honest about where you're really at, because trust me, you're going to need this later on. We're going to use this as a basis to snap you out of your coasting. Comment below and let us know which type of inertia you've been battling. We want to hear your stories and see how this framework is going to help you. So congratulations, this video has snapped you out of your coasting. If you clicked on this video, you knew something needed to be done about it, and this was the first step. Not only are you aware of your coasting, you now have a crystal clear idea of what type of coasting you've been doing. The next phase is where we're going to get stuck into actually figuring out what you're going to do to fix it. And once again, we're going to turn to science to help us do this with another unique concept around taking action that you've never heard before. And trust me, this one is going to blow your mind. Remember, we only have the first piece of the puzzle. We need to finish it off and make sure we find out how to never fall into coasting again. We'll soon be posting up a second part to this video that goes with this to explain how you're going to use science to stop coasting and start acting. So make sure you're subscribed to be sure that you don't miss out on this, and we'll see you next time.